Do you see me?
Let me pull it back down and pull it back up.
Well, it's got me a little bit too much on the red side here. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Johnny.
Somebody's playing with his phone and he don't like it.
Oh, well, it's not me, so I didn't do that. Can you guys see me or anything?
Not yet. It showed it. Let me find the.
All right. Well, I mean, it tells me I'm live, but.
No, you are live because I hear it. I can hear me in the background on Tommy's phone on it.
Oh, okay.
You are live on Tommy's phone on it.
Oh, okay.
You are live.
We've got the echo.
Yep.
We've got the echo.
Yeah, cut yours off and I'm gonna. You got it? I'm gonna hang up with you and
Yep.
watch you online.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Yep. All right. Bye.
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 Okay. This is a new one. This is something new for me. So let's see what we have here. Who is showing up? Greeting, folks. Here we are again. Hello, Miss Linda. Glad to see you. So, and Cheryl. So I have no idea how you're going to invite people over to this one. So, and usually they don't let you live. Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say anything right now because God has blessed us with having this on here right now with this number of people. So I am so grateful. So thank you, Lord. Can you guys hear me okay? I mean, is everything all right there on that end? Make sure we got that. Anyway, this evening I wanted to just touch base with you really quick and talk to you about divine appointments. Okay? Divine appointments. I was reading a verse. Forgive me, I can't remember where it is, but I'll just tell you. I think it's Peter, First Peter, where Peter's saying that God has set eternity in our hearts, so that we cannot know things that are happening, and that just means that when I look at history right now, the things that are unfolding in history, then in order to look at them accurately and in a good way, I've got to in an accurate way. I've got to look at them from God's perspective. I've got to ask God, please, from your divine perspective, let me know what's going on. Let me see as you desire for me to see. So that's a divine appointment thing, okay? And we've seen divine appointments. I mean, ultimately, like where it is when we talk about, I think it's in Hebrews 9, where it says, "Wherefore it's appointed for a man once to die, and after that the judgment." That's a divine appointment. We also see it in Ecclesiastes 3. To everything there's a season, a time to every purpose under heaven. And the very first thing is a time to be born and a time to die. Let me read it to you from the New King James, from the New King James Version. All right. To everything there's a season, a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain, a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear down, a time to tear, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. What profit is the worker from that in which he labors? I've seen that the God-given task with which the sons of man are to be occupied. He meaning God, has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity in their hearts so that no one can find out the work that God does from beginning to end. So, I mean, God's work is God's secret, God's timetable, the way God does things. Okay, he's made everything beautiful in its time. He tells us at the appointed time, I will let things happen. We see in Galatians, I think it's Galatians 4, where Paul is talking to the Galatians about, a son is an heir, although he's being treated like a slave because he doesn't differ, but he's under guardians. Okay. But then in verse 4 of Galatians 4, it says, but when the fullness of time came, God sent forth his son, born of a woman, born under the law, so that he might redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive adoption as sons. There was a time for us to be adopted into the family of God. And there is a time for everything. We look at the chaos that's happening in the world today. This is the appointed time for this. This is the appointed time. It may have taken us by surprise, and I'm certain that October 7th took a lot of people by surprise. Worldwide, especially Israel, horribly so that it took them. But we stand with her, and we always will. So, this is an appointed time for what's happening. God has ordained this time. If you're willing to receive it, we can look at this and say, and look at Matthew 23 and 24 and say, this is an appointed time. These are the birth pangs that the Lord told us about that were going to happen and are now happening, that we see, where initially people were all on board for a country to defend itself. And now that tide, unfortunately, is turning, and people are turning against that nation. What a shame! What a shame! So for us, let us remember that this time did not take God by surprise. And since it did not take him by surprise, we can look forward to the certain and sure hope that there is an outcome here that's going to honor God, that's going to bring his children to him. He's gathering his children to him. He's gathering his sons and daughters to him. And that's what this appointed time is. It is the fullness of times. In a very real sense, this is the time of the Gentiles, is spoken of in Revelation. This is the time of the Gentiles being completed. This is the time of the Gentiles being completed. And we ought to be mindful of that. And remember that redemption is drawing near. The Son of Man is returning, and he is returning very soon. Now, remember, I used the term Son of Man as it is used in Daniel, as Jesus used it of himself, calling himself the Son of Man. And he's referring to the Son of Man spoken of in Daniel 7, who goes before the Ancient of Days. He receives the kingdom and power and authority for himself and his kingdom is without end, and his authority is absolute, and his power is unquenchable, is absolute. So for this, let us remember this divine appointment. Let us remember this. So I just want you to be in mind for that this evening. And that's going to be it for right now, folks. So I appreciate your love and prayers and support. I'm also grateful if you'd like and share and subscribe, all that other good stuff. Hit the bell icon for future posts, all of those things on here so that we can make this grow. If I can no longer do this on that other venue, then I will do that here. I mean, we will post here. So just to let you know that. So until we see you on tomorrow morning, I'll be at Cumberland Worship Center. So you can plug in there at 10:30 when we begin our worship service. I'll be bringing the message. Pastor Chris is preaching at another church tomorrow, and asked me to if I would fill in, and I of course said, yeah, I'll do that, absolutely. So I appreciate your love and prayers and support in that regard. So until we see you again on Tuesday evening, be it here or on the other channel at Facebook, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance on you. May the Lord give you his peace. We love you, dear ones. We'll talk again. Bye-bye.